it's looking like Alyssa Thomas and the Phoenix Mercury are gonna be fine because she just said nah. She just said nah. And I'm sorry, like, you can't have all the smoke. You cannot be there chirping with fans the whole game. You cannot be allegedly telling fans DeWanna chose to join a real basketball team. You cannot be saying stuff like that and then hide.
Alyssa Thomas believed she could insult Fever fans without getting caught, ignoring her mandatory post-game media responsibilities and leaving abruptly after the defeat. But you know what? She didn't play the right game. Now, the WNBA is getting ready to hit her and the Phoenix Mercury with hefty fines for breaking league regulations. Furthermore, the time couldn't be more ideal. This is the manifestation of pure karma.
And it looked like Alyssa Thomas will be getting fined for doing this in Indianapolis. Guys, for this one here.
After losing to the Fever, did Alyssa Thomas skip the required post-game media session? Do you believe she deserved that fine? So she had to learn the hard way. That kind of action has actual repercussions. Furthermore, it's past overdue. Even though Alyssa Thomas had one of her greatest games of the season, the Phoenix Mercury lost to the Indiana Fever 101-97 in a fierce duel played at Gamebridge Fieldhouse on Wednesday night. But her numbers aren't the point of this. Everyone is excited right now because the true narrative began after the last buzzer.
So Alyssa Thomas had all the smoke for the Fever fans. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, it wasn't just like just normal smoke. It wasn't just normal beef. It was what people from the country will call Dublin. She had the big smoke. Like, she absolutely had all the beef for. She, let the fans hear it, all of this stuff. Satu there, telling the fans to keep up the booze. And what did they do? They lost.
Let's examine how Alyssa Thomas's situation unfolded and why she is currently the target of the league. It was a huge outing for Thomas. In just 34 minutes, he scored 32 points, pulled down 15 rebounds, and had 7 assists while shooting an incredible 63.6% from the field. She eventually recorded her first 30-point performance of the season and led all scorers. She was in control on paper, but the Mercury still lost, and that must have stung. The true drama, however, began when the final buzzer sounded. Thomas failed to appear for her post-game media responsibilities as stipulated in the WNBA's 2025 media access policy. There was no appearance, interview, or even a quote. She simply disappeared into the locker room without turning around. And now the league is paying attention.
Understand how a player in a professional sport can ever think that someone who left a team and left the team in a lurch like DeWanna Bonner left the Indiana Fever in a time of adversity when multiple players were injured. They had to sign hardship contracts, and instead of saying, hey, this isn't working out, after 9 games, mind you, did not give it much time. 9 games was it. That's all she played with the Indiana Fever. Asking for a trade and not traveling with your team after asking for something to be worked out. And then, not only that, pretty much forcing your way onto the Phoenix Mercury, which is a title contending team and a team with her life partner on it. It just sounds very like I can get what I want when I want, and it doesn't matter what happens. And yes, I can see a fan base being quite upset with this. I mean, LeBron, when he left Cleveland, people were burning his jerseys. People were booing him every time he was back in Cleveland.
In all honesty, fans had every incentive to not hold back. Thomas's disappearance caused an instantaneous online outrage. A specific Reddit posting went viral with anger, accusing her of avoiding her post-game duties and stating that she and the Mercury will both be hit with fines for breaking league rules. When a player leaves the game in such a manner following a difficult defeat, particularly one that is emotionally charged, social media shows no mercy. Thomas gave critics all the fuel they required, and the internet never forgets.
Not the she cause, not the necessarily DeWanna cause for herself. Like, the booing and everything, DeWanna brought that in herself. Let's be completely real. Even Nate Tibbetts was just like, well, yeah, this is sports. Like, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but like, their coach was even like, well, yeah, this is sports. This is sports. And like, Alyssa Thomas not showing up, it's the most Alyssa Thomas thing ever, isn't it? Talk a big game, and then when anyone does anything, negative towards you, let's just dodge. It is the most Alyssa Thomas thing ever. Like, we've seen it with some...
The whole thing becomes much more awkward at this point. This game wasn't your typical one. After walking out on the Fever early in the season, Dana Bonner was making his comeback to Indianapolis. To make matters worse, Alyssa Thomas, her fiancée, was experiencing the Fever for the first time since Indiana waved the banner on June 25th. Naturally, Thomas entered the room feeling upset after seeing her companion be jeered by the same supporters she had left behind. Personal stakes were involved.
Foul on Sophie Cunningham. That is her first team second. Coming in for Phoenix number 14,
And it was evident. As soon as Bonner took the court on Wednesday night, she was met with jeers. Additionally, Alyssa Thomas made matters worse by arguing with heated supporters for a large portion of the game. Let's set the record straight. Thomas trash-talked from the sidelines, saw her team lose despite her own excellent play, and then disappeared without interacting with the media in a professional manner. Indeed, there is video evidence showing Thomas interacting with supporters during the match. The Mercury lead 25-13 with less than 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Courtside, Thomas got into a fight with a heckler. When Phoenix was ahead, she had all the energy in the world. However, when it came time to respond to inquiries after the loss, she abruptly vanished. When it comes to media requirements, the WNBA is non-compliant. Each coach and 2 players, including the team's highest scorer, must be available for interviews within 10 minutes following the final buzzer, according to the league's 2025 media access policy. It is not a choice. It's a regulation. Nate Tibbetts, the coach, arrived. Kalia Copper arrived. However, their top scorer and seasoned player are nowhere to be seen. That's not being a leader. Ducking accountability is what that is. Additionally, the league is probably going to use her as an example. When it comes to media infractions, there aren't many justifications. The WNBA has also made it apparent. If you neglect your responsibilities, you will suffer the consequences. The wallet, recurring offenders should anticipate mounting fines. The fan response, however, is much more vicious. Fans lambasted Thomas over the stunt on social media. It was properly summed up in one comment. She plays lights out and speaks trash the entire game, but she still can't handle the media like a pro. Complete clowning. The fans aren't holding back after Thomas handed them all the ammunition they required. Everybody.
All right, first of all, if you know or follow sports in like the slightest, you don't even have to be a fanatic to understand boos come with the territory. I have never seen a season without boos. Every time I go to a New York Liberty game and the Indiana Fever play, Sophie Cunningham just steps on the court or gets announced or anything, it's met with boos from the crowd. For whatever reason, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but it's never something that I thought to write about. It's never something that I thought to post to social media. It's not something that I ever thought to make a video about because I know fans.
The response from the fans says it all. The whole thing is really absurd. At the core of it was Alyssa Thomas's inability to cope with the fact that Dana Bonner, her fiancé, was jeered upon returning to Indy after leaving on the Fever. Let's face it, it was the main reason for this outburst. Thomas objected to her girlfriend being ridiculed by Fever fans. She stormed off and avoided her required media duties rather than handling the situation like a pro. Furthermore, this was not a single instance of poor judgment. This fits into an expanding trend. Thomas has a lengthy history of arguments with supporters and divisive statements. Do you recall her taunts directed toward Fever supporters during the playoffs last year? This has been simmering for some time. It appears that her reputation as a leader who fosters league unity is deteriorating daily. As a league, we stick together, she once stated. Angel Ree is someone I trust. Fans have told me a lot. Basketball is at issue, and many have carried it too far. She discusses professionalism, unity, and believing women. However, she bolted as soon as things didn't go her way. That's not being a leader. It's hypocritical. Compare that to how other celebrities, such as Caitlin Clark, respond to hardship. Despite being heckled or hacked, Clark continues to appear, respond to inquiries, and maintain her composure. Professionals do just that. The irony is that Alyssa Thomas gave a fantastic performance. 32 points, 7 assists, 15 rebounds, and 63.3% shooting. She threw a fit. Even though she was losing, she had every cause to be proud. Rather, she made the worst decision conceivable because she let her feelings to control her. And, oh, fans took notice. She was enthralled with social media. When she's winning, she may speak without thinking. But she's gone weak when it comes to dealing with the heat. To be honest, the Phoenix Mercury is also partially to blame. After a defeat, how can you let your best player leave without making sure she meets her league commitments? Simply put, that is a leadership failure. Let's talk about the double standard as well. Had Caitlin Clark performed such a prank, the hammer would have been dropped loudly and quickly by the league. However, Thomas, there is a tacit belief that she will be given a pass because she has previously chastised followers and fulfilled certain requirements. That isn't possible. This needs to be taken seriously by the WNBA. The rules must be applicable to everyone, without exception, if they are to be meaningful. Future celebrities and young admirers are observing. Win or lose, they must understand that professionalism is necessary. And everyone is eager to see what happens next because the Mercury's next games are quickly approaching. Will Thomas be held responsible by the league, or will this be disregarded until it occurs once more? Will this teach Thomas anything, or will she continue to act as though she is exempt from the rules? The availability of media is not the only factor here. The goal is to establish a precedent. Because what message does it convey to the rest of the league if celebrities are free to skip interviews whenever they feel like it? The WNBA must establish a boundary. Nobody is superior to the game. Even more disheartening is the fact that Alyssa Thomas had a fantastic chance to make the situation better. She had the opportunity to utilize her post-game media time to encourage her teammates, consider the team's performance, or even calmly and professionally respond to the audience's response. But instead she disappeared and allowed the topic to change from her outstanding on-court play to her immaturity off the court. Her actions could now have an impact on the locker room. A Mercury team that truly wants to win a championship could become tense about a fine or worse. Her comrades took care of their duties. They arrived, but now they have to clean up the mess Thomas left. And leadership doesn't look like that. The WNBA's reaction to this will be very telling. The league is putting a lot of effort into demonstrating that it expects its athletes to be highly professional. And now is the ideal time to demonstrate it. There are severe repercussions for neglecting mandatory media responsibilities in leagues such as the NBA, NFL, or MLB. No justifications, no. Special consideration. Disobey the rules. Pay the cost. The WNBA must function at the same level. Furthermore, the fan viewpoint is more important than ever, therefore let's not overlook it. Fans of the WNBA, which continues to increase in popularity, demand professionalism from the players they root for. It gives the false impression that some WNBA players believe they are beyond the fundamental norms that every other professional league upholds when a celebrity like Thomas acts as though the rules don't apply to her. This is where the irony lies. In fact, Thomas had a point worth discussing. The game she played was amazing. She had the opportunity to speak up, discuss her performance, and use the occasion to demonstrate poise and maturity. Rather, she transformed herself into the antagonist and led her group into unnecessary turmoil. Nor will this action be forgotten anytime soon. Reporters keep in mind who avoids responsibility. She caused herself a wound, and this could affect how the media covers her going ahead. This gets much more annoying when you factor in the Mercury's ambitions of winning the championship. The squad is equipped to contend for a championship, but because their top player was unable to withstand the heat, they are now facing needless distractions. And the chef's kiss is the immediate karma here. Despite her valiant efforts, Thomas watched her team fail, trash-talked supporters all night, and fled the media when it came time to possess it. She is now on the verge of facing a fine and the fury of the internet. In the end, Alyssa Thomas made a stupid choice that had negative effects on the Mercury, herself, and the WNBA overall. There is more to becoming a professional athlete than just racking up numbers. It entails taking responsibility even in the face of setbacks. And Thomas demonstrated that she wasn't up to that standard by neglecting her responsibilities. She will now have to deal with the repercussions, which, to be honest, are well earned. How do you feel about this? Was it inappropriate for Thomas to avoid contact with the media? Leave your opinions in the comments section, and let's discuss what professionalism in the WNBA actually looks like.